This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Here's your report.
Oh, thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire someone just like you.
Try LinkedIn Hiring Pro. It's more than a job board. It's like the recruiter you always wished you had. Hiring Pro uses real-time insights to match your role to LinkedIn's unique network of professionals and delivers a short list of best fit candidates. You'll spend less time sorting applicants and more time talking to the right people.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Welcome to Holocron History, Star Wars Canon versus Legends, where we take a deep dive into the Star Wars universe, such as characters, creatures, stories, and so much more. Hosted by Ben of Temeria and Kadojo.
Welcome back, Acolytes, Adepts, to Holocron History, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends. I am one of your hosts, Brandon, or also known as Ben of Temeria, and always with me is my good friend, Kadojo.
Hello there.
And we are continuing our Mon Mothma series with part 2 of 4. Yeah, there's a lot on her, obviously, since we're doing 4 parts. And, now we're getting to the Age of the Rebellion. Since last week we ended the Clone Wars. Now we get into the Rebellion Age. So,
and I guess we should say this is a bit of a spoiler episode, because some of this does take place during Season 2 of Andor.
Some of it's Season 1. They didn't have all the info yet from Season 2 when I was doing the research, since it was still developing. So some of the stuff's, a lot of it's Season 1, Mon Mothma, not Season 2. So, which we'll let you know if it's Season 1 or Season 2 when we read it. So when Mothma and Organa remained members of the Imperial Senate, they understood that the political group was now irrelevant, and at the time came for rebellion. While Organa dealt with the military aspects of building a rebellion and grew its network of intelligence agents, Mothma further developed political alliances that were made during the final moments of the Republic. Mothma understood that those alliances would be key for any future galactic governance after either the defeat or the reform of the Empire.
Now, the Imperial Senate wasn't irrelevant right now. It was still very much so. I mean, Palpatine was still scared of the Senate, because in the Darth Vader comic, Vader's chasing after some Inquisitors.
It wasn't saying that the Empire political stuff is irrelevant. It's more the Republic. Because Mothma and Organa are fully, Republic, not the Empire. And that their group was now irrelevant. That what they stood for now doesn't matter.
Yeah, but Palpatine was still scared that the Senate still had some power that he didn't quite have yet, so he was still a little bit scared of that.
Yeah, but not as crazy. So before Amidala died, she secretly gave birth to twins, Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa /Skywalker. In the latter, whom was adopted by Organa and his wife, Queen Bria Organa. Mothma knew that the adopted princess from an early age and watched as she grew to become a politician in her own right. Mothma became the princess's political tutor, teaching her before she took her father's place in the Imperial Senate, and watched as the princess became a leader in the emerging rebellion against the Empire.
I wonder when Mon Mothma kind of figured out who Leia's real mother was.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because at some point she had to put 2 and 2 together. And now we come to the part where never mind.
Yeah, we're good. No, it was, it was a coworker, but they were letting me know. It's like, hey, clones are back in the Fortnite shop. And it's like, Dang. Uh, so around 18 BBY, Mothma and Piran had a child, a daughter named Lydia? Yeah, Lydia
Yeah,
Mothma.
Lydia.
Mon and Lydia had a distant relationship, and Mon also hiding her rebellious activities from her daughter and husband. While there were times she wanted to tell Lydia about the hidden part of her career, Mon decided that keeping Lydia out of the loop kept her safe. In 5 BBY, Mothma visited Luthen Rel's galactic inquitiquities. Bleh, words are hard.
Antiquities.
Thank you. And objects of interest on Coruscant, claiming to buy a present for her husband for his days of days. In reality, however, Mothma had came to speak with Rao, whom she was trying to smuggle money to in order to feed the rebels he was working with.
Yeah, so first off, keeping secrets
And
from your family, I'm sure that's healthy for the family
Mhm.
dynamic there.
And for anybody to know, the Days of Days was a Trodillian custom of which involving giving a present. It's just a custom of where she's from.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a midlife crisis, days of days.
Good question. You never know. You never know. But obviously, this is in season 1 of Andor, by the way. And I'm gonna be honest. I don't like Lydia at all. She's a brat.
She's a bit of a brat, but you also got to
her.
realize her father
He's
is a
dick.
pompous ass, and her mother is more interested in doing her political work and career than really focusing on her daughter. From her perspective.
Fair.
From her perspective.
That's fair. Good point. So by this time, the Empire began sending spies after Mothma, including her new driver, Clarice, meaning that she was unable to transfer the money. Upon her arrival, Rao led the senator to the back of the gallery, feigning to show her military artifacts for her husband would enjoy. Once in the back, Mothma informed Rao that she had found someone who they could bring into the circle, but Luthen dismissed this as they were vulnerable enough. Mothma, however, told him not to lecture her on vulnerability, as if they were discovered, she would be the first to fall. Mothma then left the gallery and quietly observed Coruscant on her way home.
Yeah, so she's trying to launder money into the rebellion, and that kind of financial impact kind of raises red flags. As most criminal empires know, you need kind of a money laundering service.
Mm-hmm.
And so who she turned to? A criminal.
Whoa. Who would have thought? So Mothma returned to her apartment. She found Firtha preparing for a dinner party for her regimental friend, the governor of Hana, about which she had told his wife about a month prior. Mothma asked who else Firtha was invited, and was up to learn that he invited several of her political enemies, including Ars Dangor and Sly Moore, who the day before had cut off the Gorman shipping lanes. Mothma protested that she be seated away from them, with Piran insisting that they would be seated at the boring side of the table. Annoyed and frustrated, Mothma stormed away.
Now, the As Dangor and Sly Moore were two of the top political aides to Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
Sly Moore you actually see in like episodes 1, 2, and 3. She's that very pale skinned, bald-headed woman next to Palpatine.
Yeah.
And As Dangor is one of those funny hats wearing people in episode 6 that come with Palpatine to the Death Star.
Yep. So the next morning, Mothma had breakfast with Firtha and 13-year-old Lydia. At the last minute, Lydia canceled plans that she had with her mother to take Lydia to her classes, and had her mother take Lydia to her classes, asking her father to take her instead. The two then got into the argument as Lydia claimed that Mothma only looked to show off and that she involved somehow. When Mothma told her how hurtful that was, Lydia said it was just to prove her point that everything was all about Mothma. Firtha remained mostly silent during the exchange. Mothma then sarcastically thanked her husband for his help in the disagreement. Again, she's a brat.
Husbands don't get in arguments unless they're get physical at this point. It's like, nope. Unless Fist of Thrones, I ain't getting involved in it.
Right? Two women arguing? Nope, no thank you. Um, so later that night, Mothma and Bertha attended an event together. On their way back in a speeder driven by Clarice, Bertha mentioned that how Mothma had watched his conversation with Gar to feed, who he claimed knew more about what was up than he did. He also asked Mothma why he had not made mention of her new foundation, to which Mothma responded that she assumed that Bertha would not be interested as it was charitable. Bertha then asked Mothma for the second time of the day for their driver name, and which she told him was Clarice, before he asked to take the expressway. And Bertha is Pirwin. Is that Pirwin or is that
Bertha? No, that's the husband.
That's the husband. Who the hell's Pirwin?
What?
Shoot. Am I
Pirwin.
like? Yeah, I remember. Maybe.
You having a stroke?
Maybe. No, I'm not. For everybody, no, don't worry about that. So the next day, Mothma appeared before the Imperial Senate. Although the Senate chamber was almost empty, Mothma showed her support for Senator Dow's proposal, calling it both temperament and timely, and put it in place a fact-finding commission for the session that would prove the opposition of Dow's proposal, what would cause further harm to the Gormans.
Now, 5 BBY, this must have been in the early planning stages for what the Empire had planned for Gorma, which you'll see in Season 2.
Yeah, because the Gorman thing is in, what, 3 BBY? The Tragedy of Gorman?
2 BBY.
There's 2 BBY, okay.
Yeah, I think so, because when it happens, that's episode 7, 8, and 9.
So 2 BBY, okay.
2 BBY, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I'm on episode 4 of season 2. So.
Oh, it's gonna get so good.
It's good to know. So Mothma intended to pass her own bill, which would also provide aid to the Gormans. Mothma was disappointed, however, to see most of the Senate weren't paying attention to her, with many looking at her data pads before exiting their pods. They picked up her own data pad as an alarm had gone off as news broke on Coruscant about how rebels stole 80 million credits on Aldhani.
Yeah, this was
obviously at the
season
end
1.
Of season 1.
Well, not the end.
Well,
more
middle season 1.
But yeah, when you're watching that scene, it's so funny. But most of the hall is empty, and all of a sudden you see people just start randomly looking at their data slates, and Mon Mothma is like trying to continue his speech. You see her getting frustrated. She goes like, "Oh, screw it," and looks at her data pad, interrupting her own speech.
So shortly after, Mothma returned to Rao's store, claiming that she wanted to switch out Bertha's gift for another one. Though in reality, she wanted to confront Rao about the attack on Aldhani. Rao claimed that he needed credits which Mothma could no longer give, but Mothma was angered by Rao's actions, as would lead to more suffering as the Empire would crack down on the other planets. Rao expected this, but saw the suffering of others due to the Empire's paranoia as necessary to defeating the Empire. Mothma then said that she would not be taking either of the items and left to return to her vehicle.
Yeah, this was interesting. Rao pretty much said, yeah, that's what I want to happen. I want the Empire to crack down on other planets to sort of wake them up, to show them, hey, the Empires are the bad guys. This is what they're going to do, no matter what. If something happens on one planet, everyone's going to suffer for it. Everyone.
Yeah.
And the sooner that happens, the faster everything can fester.
Mm-hmm. So later that night, Mothma hosted a party at her apartment where she talked with her school friend, the banker Te Kolma, Mothma reintroduced Kolma to Lydia, whom he had met when she was young. Lydia did not remember, however, and mostly ignored Kolma as she asked her mother's permission to be excused from the party like Firtha had told her to do so.
Yeah, I don't care. Whoever.
I hate them so,
Can I go?
so much.
Can I go back to the room?
So after Lydia left, Mothma inquired if she could ask Kolma for a political favor, but Kolma advised against it, warning that his political opinions were getting stronger and he had been continuously growing less and less fond of the Empire. Kolma did not approve of Mothma spending so much time with those inside the Empire and how interlinked she had become with the Empire. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. She's not.
Yeah, she's just working for it from the inside.
Mm-hmm. So Mothma then took Kolma aside into the living room and told him that her image of a defrontal senator who continuously failed to achieve her goals of opposing the Empire overreached was a lie. Mothma revealed to Kolma that the Grand Vizier, thank you, had infiltrated her special separatist coalition meetings, and that her driver was a member of the Imperial Security Bureau, who reported on her secret humanitarian programs. She wanted the Empire to watch her because if everyone thought of her as a irritation, that meant there was a good chance they would miss what she was really doing.
I like to think of this as a magician's trick. Look over here, while the real thing's happening somewhere else.
Yup. And oh boy, does she. So Kolma then asked what Mothma was really doing, in which Mothma responded that she was raising money that she could no longer freely access her family accounts. Kolma asked what she was raising money for, but Mothma ignored him and said it was forming a Chardalian charitable outreach program for which she was asked Kolma to be the chairman, and which would involve a lot of trips to Coruscant and would appear to be another of her benevolent and bothersome actions. When Kolma pointed out that she hadn't answered the question, Mothma told him that he would not, as she was better off not knowing.
Yeah.
Meaning, don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask stupid questions, kid.
Mm-hmm. So the pair were then interrupted by Firtha, who assumed that they were reminiscing about their school days and reminded the pair of an upcoming reunion. Mothma then left the living room with Firtha to talk to some of the other guests. So, yeah.
Yep.
Moving on to then, Mothma then was a prominent opponent for the new authoritarian laws that the Emperor Palpatine introduced to the Imperial Senate following a rebel attack on Aldhani, specifically the Imperial Emergency Act and the Public Order Resentencing Directive, which she was practically critical towards the latter measure, which she described as the next step of an all-too predictable march towards complete, unchallenged authority.
Yeah, the Public Order Resentencing Directive. That's basically taking a prison sentence or whatever sentence is and doubling it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got like a 6-month stint, it changed to a year-long stint.
Mm-hmm. Or in, where Andor was kept prisoner forever.
Yeah, supposedly, yeah.
So, her opposition raised a certain amount of debate, but the acts were eventually passed nonetheless. Mothma's desperation to avoid her rebel activities from being exposed via her banking records led to her agreeing to Davo Skolden's proposal to introduce Leia to his son, Skeken Skodolden, which was a road to an arranged marriage.
Yeah. She didn't like this because Mon Mothma on Chandril, there are certain traditions and whatnot that Mon Mothma and her cousin, who I can't remember her name, literally fought to end and sort of get out. And her daughter, Mon Mothma's daughter, is pretty much revitalizing those traditions. And it's just racking Mon Mothma's brains like, why is she doing this? We literally did a hippie movement against this stuff, and now she's just bringing it back.
Yeah.
And Davo Scaldin was the criminal in question, as it were, who could help her launder her money, which her childhood friend, Colma, pretty much said, yeah, you're going to have to go to this guy and talk to him about it. There's literally no one else you can trust to do this.
Yeah, it's I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Not like anything arranged.
Hey, doing a rebellion isn't exactly clean.
Fair point. So, while continuing her work in the Imperial Senate, Mothma continued to expand on the loose network of rebel cells. She began calling it the Alliance. These groups included organizations such as the Activist Resistance Group, which joined Mothma's network in 5 BBY.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember where they're from. It's from the first mentioned in the Rebel Files, and then they were in Dawn of the Rebellion visual guide.
I don't think I've read either of those.
That's fair. They didn't apparently do a whole lot. Meh. Anyway.
I think it was just basically saying, hey, I managed to get this group to join us. Maybe there can be an organization of some sort.
Oh, yeah. So, but let's take a quick mid-break, thank our patrons, and we'll be right back.
What's that, bud? The Lincoln Summer Sales event is on now with exclusive offers? Oh, so you want to feel the wind pouring through the available open panoramic vista roof on a road trip? And spend the afternoon beachside hanging out on the back of the spacious Lincoln Splitgate? Okay, I'll schedule a Lincoln test drive today, right before your vet appointment. Visit your local Lincoln retailer or learn more at Lincoln.com.
At Ollie, we've got wellness down to a science. From PMS to pregnancy to menopause, our women's wellness line offers science-backed support for every stage. No judgment, no shame, none of the stigma. Just supplements designed to meet you wherever you're at. Ollie, choose science over shame. Find support at a retailer near you or on ollie.com. That's OLLY.com.
All right, welcome to the Miller Show. We're talking about everything with the podcast that has nothing to do with the lore of Star Wars. Here, we want to thank all of our Mason patrons. And thank you guys so much for supporting the show. And if you too want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/holocronhistories, where you can get ad-free episodes or even join us once a month on the show itself. You can also find us on Apple and Spotify. Leave a 5-star review on Apple with some words or a nice Spotify comment. We'll read it out loud next time on the show, which we don't have any this week, but it's all good. Happens. It's all right. You can also find us on a few different Discord servers, the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, as well as my own Discord server, the Ben and Friends Podcasting Discord, where you can find this show and all the other shows that I host, which are the Final Fantasy Lorecast, the Gundam Lorecast, the Wizarding World Lorecast, and the Witcher Lorecast. So go check those out. All great stuff, all great fun. And, go to Robots Radio, because we keep adding more shows, which is insane. There's more. I think
they just added a Warhammer 40K show.
Yep, that's the newest show we got. It was a Warhammer 40K, which is probably a much needed show anyway. So, because there's way too much lore in that in Warhammer.
Way too much.
Way too much. That is correct. Correctamundo. But yeah, I don't really have anything else. News-wise, you still have the Fortnite Galactic Battles event that's going on in Fortnite. Apparently, they just added the clone skins back in the item shop, so you can go and become a clone. Starting this Thursday, when this episode drops, the Mandalorian Rising week starts, so they're adding new Mandalorian stuff into Fortnite, which is cool. There's going to be a whole new Mandalorian skin that's fully customizable, which is going to be pretty cool. So, oh boy. And apparently there's been a resurgence in Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2's been having a lot more resurgence of players, which is like, please keep playing that game, because maybe we could get a third one. An actual Battlefront 3, which is probably never going to happen. But you never know.
Wake up, Ben. Wake up. Time for school. Time to go to school. Wake up, Ben.
What? What? No, I'm not waking up. I'm going to keep wishing for Battlefront 3. But, that's probably never going to happen. But anyway, do you have anything for the mid-break, Dojo? Any news or anything? Because I can't think of anything else.
They're starting to slowly wrap up Phase 3 of the High Republic books.
Which I started reading again.
Yeah, I listened.
I'm in
I work in
Temptations of the Force. I'm in that book right now.
Okay. There's a new one that just came out. I just finished listening to, what was it? High Republic Into the Light.
Into the Light?
Which wraps up the not the Nihil. The little plant monsters. Whatever
the
they're
Dringear?
called. Dringear. It wraps up that storyline.
Oh. By Claudia Gray. Part of the Phase 3 Trials of the High Republic Phase 3 Trials of the Jedi. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm curious how long the High Republic has left with this phase.
It's only got to be a few books left.
Well, next is High Republic of Valiant. Oh, that's like a junior novel. Boo.
Well, junior novels do
Trials
tie
of the
in
Jedi.
A little bit.
That comes out in June. Trials of the Jedi. Which, that one, upcoming canon original novels in the High Republic era, written by Charles Soule, will be published on June 17th by Random House Worlds as part of the High Republic and the High Republic Phase 3 Trials of the Jedi. And then after that is the Acolyte book, Wayseeker.
Into the light. Okay, wow. Okay, so yeah, no, it's only one more book left?
Apparently. And
that can't be right.
Yeah, it can't be right. And then you have,
because Into the Light, that can't be right. A Valiant Val is second to last, and then Trials of the Jedi is the last book.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's getting to the end then.
So, and then Tempest Breaker, which I still need to listen to, was like fourth from the end. I think it wraps up Laura D's story.
Okay. Yeah, and apparently after Trials of the Jedi, it gets into, I guess they're doing 2 Acolyte books that lead up to the Acolyte.
Yeah.
So, which is interesting. I'm just curious, is Kymir, this is a question for everybody, is Kymir Vernestra Rose' old Padawan?
Kymir. Oh, the Sith kid. I mean, it's possible. She's like over 100 years old and still looking like she's in her 40s.
Yeah, I mean, Vernestra Rose and Merlin.
Merlin.
Yeah. Her
Whatever
species
you just
can
said.
live. Yeah, her species can live for a really long time. Her apprentice Imri, Kentaros. Oh, I lied. It's not him. Oh no, it could be him actually. Because he was a male human So it's a possibility. It could be. So, who knows? Be interesting if it was her old apprentice. I would give it a little more of a, like, shit moment kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And he did go into the dark side for a short time. Very, very short time. But who knows? Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back into Mon Mothma.
This episode is brought to you by Tidy Cats, here to level up your litter game with their new Performance Plus lineup. Your home is your happy place, your cats, VIPs. So when it comes to the litter box, excellence isn't optional. Choose from products that specialize in max power clumping, low tracking, or odor fighting so advanced, stink won't see it coming. Tidy Cats Performance Plus. Mission mighty, keep it tidy. Shop now at tidycats.com.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
All right, so now we're in 3 BBY. So we're skipping a lot of all of Andor Season 2 because it was it was published when I was doing research. So in 3 BBY, Mothma attended Leia Organa's Day of Demand at the Royal Palace of Alderaan, where she smiled wider as Leia passed, along with several dinner parties hosted at the palace, which actually served as strategy meetings for the growing rebellion.
Now, the Day of Demand is essentially Leia proving that she's ready to become the next queen, as it were. Sort of coming of age.
Yeah. So, before one of these dinner parties, Mothma asked the princess, talked with Princess Leia about her time in the apprentice legislation. Yeah. Whatever. That's an apprenticeship with legislation. Yeah. With freaking.
It's a practice senate.
Yeah.
Practice senate.
It's stupid. Leia confessed her guilt to Mothma about falling for a trick planted by the Empire, as she had recommended Uriel to be chosen for the location of a new Imperial Academy, which allowed the Empire to run scans that showed the existence of a powerful radiation source under the planet's crust. The Empire then began plans to use the source in planet-wide factories and gave the population 6 weeks to evacuate with no compensation.
Yeah.
So she accidentally helped the Empire.
Yep, fell for it.
Yeah. Mothma reassured Leia that Palpatine and his higher-ups were skilled in those things, and that even she herself had fallen for them in a few times. Mothma moved into the banquet hall for the dinner party. Shortly after, they were discussed the recent assassination of Moff Panaka, and the idea of implementing further violence into their plans. Mothma pointed out that at some point, refusing to fight stopped being non-violence, and instead of being objectors, they become bystanders. Like Breha Organa, Mothma tried to get Bail to recognize that a large-scale military rebellion was the only way to rife the galaxy of Palpatine and the Empire.
Now, Moff Panaka, he was the guard in Episode 1, Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
And he and Amidala had a small falling out after the siege of Naboo.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted a bigger military defense budget. Padme's like, oh, we'll just install EMPs around the capital and that'll be enough. Which you do get to see in Star Wars Battlefront 2 on one of the levels.
True, you do. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and we don't know why exactly Panaka was assassinated, but it came at a good time because Panaka put 2 and 2 together and figured out Leia was Amidala's daughter.
Yeah.
And was Rey about to tell Palpatine.
Good thing that didn't happen. So the next day, Leia visited Mothma in her office with proof of the Empire's actions towards the planet of Chasmin, having punished them for failing to meet the imperial quota by irradiation of vast swath of its farmland, which led to the planet-wide famine. Mothma told Leia there was very little that they could be done with the evidence that she'd gathered. Mothma explained to Leia that worlds such as Chasmin weren't subject to much propaganda, and that it wasn't ignorance, but rather tyranny and fear that kept worlds within the Empire.
Basically, Chasmin wasn't a big enough planet to make a fuss over, essentially.
Yeah.
It's possible it was an Outer Rim world, I think.
Probably.
And not a lot of people cared about the Outer Rim at that point.
No, God, no. So Mothma did reassure Leia, however, that evidence such as the one she gathered would be useful for when Palpatine fell, and they would need to rewrite their false history to reflect the truth. Mothma also told Leia that she was honored that Leia had trusted her with this, as the Empire had worked hard to destroy people's faith in each other, and that it would only be reaching out that they would be able to make allies they needed. When Leia hoped that one day she would be one of those allies, Mothma reassured her that she already was.
And I can guarantee you she was shortly recruited into the Rebel Alliance, because Leia did show up in Rebels to drop off 3 Hammerhead Corvettes to the Rebel Alliance on Lothal.
Yeah. So in another one of the dinner parties, Grand Moff Tarkin unexpectedly attended, and in order to hide the true purpose of gathering, Queen pretended to drunkenly accuse her husband and Mothma of having an affair, resulting in Princess Leia bursting into tears and Tarkin stomping out. The Organa's allies then realized that Leia was aware of their dangerous and illegal activities and were greatly angered that Bail and Bretta had allowed their child to know about it.
To be fair, they were having these meetings in rooms that could be easily accessed from secret passageways.
That, and, Leia's not stupid. Leia's smart as hell.
Oh, yeah, she's got her mother's wits.
Mm-hmm.
She's got her mother's wits.
She's not dumb. So Mothma then told everyone that Leia Organa wasn't a child as she had her day demand and was on the verge of becoming an adult. Mothma said that Leia was grown into a representative of the next generation, a generation she said would do most of the fighting and dying in and what was to come. Which she's not wrong.
Yeah.
So. Later, Mothma attended the ceremony where Leia officially invested in the Crown Princess of Alderaan. The young Organa would go in to join the Imperial Senate. Like Leia, Mothma would support a refugee rights bill in the Senate that kept refugees safe from exploitation. After it passed, it cost a chief operating officer on Coruscant billions, which eventually led to her putting a bounty out on both Mothma and Leia. Wow. Jeez, okay, well.
Yeah.
It passed a bill, so now I'm going to put a mark on you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So, following the Gorman massacre in 2 BBY, so which we do see in Andor, but we also see the aftermaths also in Rebels as well.
Yeah. Now, I just want to point out, Mothma has been a bit of a downward spiral between that bill and the Gorman massacre. In the first 3 episodes, you kind of see her a little bit of a downward spire in season 2 there. Because her daughter got married off and pretty much said, "Screw you, Mom, I'm not going to be like you."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, sorry, continue.
Okay, so following the Gorman massacre in 2 BBY, Senator Dossie Oren was arrested without warrant of charges levied against him by the Imperial Navy in the Senate building in front of a wide range of senators, including Mothma and Bail Organa. Following the arrest, Mothma appealed to Organa's significant power and seniority in the Senate with the hope that she could be included in the next session's order of business. The scale of the misinformation campaign against the Gorman people had reached extreme levels, but Mon asserted that the lies were obvious and felt it was important to speak up, even when the Empire's significant control over the Senate meant that it would be hard for her to get time on the floor.
Yeah, most of the Imperial Senate were pretty much brainwashed Palpatine supporters at this point. They bought into the propaganda either out of fear or genuine belief at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and we kind of see this even when the Empire becomes the New Republic, too. So, that's more in Ahsoka, which we'll get later in Mon's life, because she, still around. So, however, she and Organa both agreed that the speech would be potent enough to cause retaliation, and based on the decision to speak against the idea that Mon would flee Coruscant and forfeit her position as senator immediately thereafter. Organa informed her that it would organize a team to extract her, but would stay within the Senate for a longer period as to keep the Empire's anxieties at bay.
So basically, Mon Mothma would make this big speech, anti-Palpatine speech, an anti-Empire speech, essentially costing her own life if she stayed on Coruscant. So she would have to immediately flee after making this speech.
Right. So following the discussion, Mon spent a whole night in the Senate writing and preparing her speech, but also checking with the help of Askin Sima, her senatorial attaché, for listening devices in her office, following Organa's assertion that Senator Ton, who found a listening device in her own, upon its discovery, she destroyed it, provoking the interest of ISB agents. Under the incorrect impression that more listening devices may exist, she left her office to practice her speech in the plaza of the Senate, where she was approached by Luthen Rao, who revealed Shima was one of his agents and had been since the wedding of Mon's daughter, Lydia. Luthen also revealed that there was a mole within the extraction team provided by Bail Organa, information he was given by ISB supervisor Lonnie June. He offered an alternative solution to Organa's team, extraction by Cassian Andor, using the code phrase, "I have friends everywhere." Okay, so this is season 2, by the way.
Oh yeah, this is heavily season 2.
This is straight up season 2. I didn't realize I had season 2 stuff in here.
Oh yeah. I mean, the only part we're missing is essentially the wedding of her daughter in the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
I can't remember what the second 3 episodes she did.
I don't remember.
God.
I probably am not even there at the end of the season anyway. So the following day, the Senate session stated that with the ISB senators and the press under the impression that Mothma would not be speaking, ISB supervisor Lagret informed one of his officers that he would receive the Senate's agenda, and Mon was not on it. However, Senator Everine, the senator from Hondi, and a respected figure as well as a close ally of Bail Organa's, was on the agenda, and she chose to yield some of her time to Organa due to an important point of order.
Yeah, there was another senator just before her that said that this was an emergency situation with the whole Gorman massacre or Gorman rebellion, rebel insurgents on Gorman, as it were.
Right.
So that's a very important part.
So Organa then invoked Article 17-252, a piece of legislation proposed by the Empire's Council directly that a senior senator, in the case of emergency, may yield the floor freely without interruption to another senior senator. Given that all 3, Everine, Organa, and Mothma, were all senior senators, they were free to yield this time, and as Article 17-252 was in effect, the Speaker did not have the power to override Mothma's speech. The ISB, however, did attempt to shut down the public broadcast of Mothma's speech.
Now, there is supposedly on the cutting room floor of the speechwriting staff a scene where the criminal from season 1, Dove something, is essentially a mogul media. That's his real legitimate job, and that he was in charge of broadcasting the Senate, and that he pretty much just straight up said, "No, screw you, Empire, I'm broadcasting this speech," which then forced ISB to run around and trying to figure a way to shut down the broadcast of the speech.
Yep. So this speech was met with loud jeering and rejection, as well as the end of the current session due to the shutdown of the public broadcast.
Oh yeah. So, and then she gets to escape. Turns out one of the people Bale set up was an ISB agent, and then Andor shows up. He just straight up kills 2 people.
Hey,
both eyes.
Spoiler.
Hey, I told you, spoiler alert. And the reaction from Mon Mothma is like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" Both times, it's like, "Welcome to Rebel Alliance."
Right. I'm gonna have to. You're gonna make me watch the rest of Andor after this. So a bit of Dantooine, yes, Dantooine, you heard that right, Legends lovers. Dantooine is still around. Mon Mothma gave a speech stating that she had resigned from the Imperial Senate since it had been corrupted by the Emperor, with the Senate no longer able to protect the rights and freedoms of the galaxy's citizens. She advocated the formation of an alliance to restore the Republic. This speech was witnessed by Senator Organa, General Jan Dordona, and members of Ryder Azadi's Lethal Resistance Group with Phoenix Squadron, which is the Rebels. Shortly later, the Rebel fleet emerged from hyperspace above Dantooine, and the Alliance was formed. Officially beginning the Galactic Civil War, members of the Alliance military would nickname Mothma Double M.
Okay.
Because, I guess, why not?
Yeah.
So, then after escaping Grand Admiral Thrawn's siege of Atonal? Attalon. Thank you. Ezra contacted Mon Mothma via hologram and tried to solicit her help in sending reinforcements and aid to the besieged Phoenix Squadron and General Dodona's Masasi group. However, the rebel leader was unwilling to expose the true strength of the Rebel Alliance to Thrawn and admitted that the alliance was not yet ready for open warfare against the Empire. When Mothma promised to negotiate fair treatment for the prisoners, Ezra warned that Thrawn might not take prisoners. Before exiting the conversation, Mothma complimented Ezra for his courage and wished that the Force would be with him. Ultimately, the rebels managed to escape Attalon with the help of the Mandalorians from Clan Ren.
Yeah, and this sort of starts a whole thing of Rebel High Command never really wanting to get into a fight until Yavin. They're always, no, we're not ready. We can't do it yet. No, sorry, no. We're 2 weeks still. We're too spread out. They're just coming up with excuses left, right, and center.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong. Not at all. So, in the aftermath of Attalon, the Rebel Alliance, including Mothma, relocated to Yavin 4 around 1 BBY. Following Phoenix Squadron's return from a failed supply mission, Mothma welcomed Hera Syndulla at the subsequent meeting, commending her bravery after Bail Organa's attribute their faulty intelligence to a new Imperial satellite relay on Jalindi. Ezra remarked on Saw Gerrera's more extreme methods of acquiring the information, to which Mothma was quick to remind that the rest of the rebellion does not torture prisoners. When Alexander Callus, Agent Callus, suggested intercepting the satellite relay, Mothma agreed to the plan and placed Hera in charge of the mission. At the meeting's conclusion, Ezra once again pleaded for Mothma's help in liberating Lothal.
Yeah, this was the episode of Rebels where after essentially the Mandalore battle, where they managed to unite the clans against the Empire and essentially retake Mandalore. And so that freed up Ezra and the rest of the group to go back to Yavin. And then there's this mission where Ezra and Sabine meet up with Saw Gerrera and kind of realize he's kind of nuts at this point.
Oh,
he's really nuts.
I mean, go listen to our Saw Gerrera episodes. He's insane. Though sympathetic to the planet's plight as much as other worlds under Imperial control, Mothma reminded Ezra the rebellion was not yet strong enough to do so. That night, Saul appeared via hologram from an astromech droid denouncing the leaders of the Alliance. Mothma was quick to respond, demanding to know his reasons for contacting them. When a Guerrera reminded her of her refusal to destroy the Jalandi relay, Mothma in turn refused to fall to his level, reminding Saul of his numerous war crimes. Despite this, the relay was inevitably destroyed by Guerrera and the Ghost crew following the unexpected arrival of Brom Titus.
Now, I like to point out it's only a war crime if you lose the war.
Fair point. I mean, look at Chopper. He's a war criminal, and he's still running. Yeah. I did see a funny clip today of, oh, wait, K2SO and Chopper were on Yavin 4 together for a split, like, for
probably a few weeks, months, maybe.
At least. And I was like, oh my god, the war crimes they would have done together. So, weeks later, Mothma informed Ezra of a message from Azadi concerning a new development of the TIE Defender. Having witnessed the ships in action firsthand, Mothma asked for Ezra's help in gathering intelligence on Lothal. Bridger and the rest of the Ghost crew readily agreed, though Mothma could not guarantee their extraction due to the Empire's massive blockade. After Hera and Chopper acquire the TIE/D Defender Elite's flight data recorder and return to Yavin 4, Mothma and Erskine Simja greeted the two rebels.
Yeah, the TIE Defender would have been the equal to the X-Wing, and they would have been able to outproduce the Rebel Alliance of those and just lose the war.
Mm-hmm. And luckily, they didn't do that. So Mon Mothma later attended a briefing with General Dodona, Senator Organa, Simja, and Syndulla to discuss the flight data recorder. During the meeting, Hera urged Mothma to launch a strike on the Imperial TIE Defender factories on Lothal, and added that she had a ground strike team. Mothma responded by asking her and Chopper to wait outside while she discussed the matter. In private, Mothma and the others discussed Protocol 13. Hera re-entered the meeting and urged the rebel leadership to launch the strike. Mothma was swayed and authorized Syndulla's strike. However, Syndulla's squadron of X-Wing starfighters was intercepted and largely wiped out by Thrawn's 7th Fleet.
Yeah, so this, in my opinion, this was sort of just played straight into Thrawn's hand.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually do destroy the facility via a small strike group that was initially trying to save Hera.
Mm-hmm.
They managed to save Hera and destroy the facility at the same time. I don't think there was a need for them to launch the fighters they had.
Right. And then before or during one BBY, Mon Mothma assigned a group of operatives to an intelligence mission on Mustafar, which she deemed critical to the rebellion's survival.
I wonder if that was to find Vader's castle. Because that's the only thing on Mustafar at this point. It's just Vader.
So mission on Mustafar was it was specifically with K2SO.
Uh-huh.
Disguised as stormtroopers.
I wonder if this was
to recover Imperial intelligence that, according to the Alliance leader, Mon Mothma was critical to the survival of the Empire. So it didn't really...
No, this was a ride/experience over at Disney World or Disneyland for a limited time.
Sources.
It was a VR headset.
Empire.
It was a VR headset thing that Disney set up at one of their parks.
It's it's ILMM/X Labs The Void Immersive Extent Experience. YouTube video. My bad.
It was
thing there.
No, it was an experience. It was a VR experience that people could go through.
I think this was also on Tales of the Galaxy's Edge, maybe?
No. This was something else.
Some stuff too. Discovery of the Proto Saber. This is the outcome.
Yeah, this was a Disney experience ride, as it were, where they walked around with a VR headset.
Interesting.
I know this sounds crazy.
It kind of does. Secrets of the Empire is a virtual reality experience created by IML X Lab and written by David S. Goyer, Tracy Hickman for the location-based VR company The Void. Opened in 2017 in Orlando and January 5th in 2018 in Anaheim. It was a limited 12-week release in London on the same day as Orlando release. Oh, interesting. 12 weeks, June 19th, instead of plan closing the date of March 10th. Experience closed permanently at the Orlando and Anaheim locations in March of 2020. Literally when COVID hit. It closed during COVID. When COVID
Yeah,
hit.
which makes sense.
Okay, interesting. I thought they added this later to
No, there was another VR experience they put out online. It was like I think it was at Tales of Vader or something, where it's like a 3-episode part.
Oh, that's oh shoot, that's Vader Immortal is the VR experience. That's on like Oculus and MetaQuest. So cool. Well, yeah, that's all I have for this week for Mon Mothma. Stay tuned for part 3 and then part 4. So
my question is how Padme Amidala would have affected the Rebel Alliance, because in my opinion, she was much more of a figurehead than Mon Mothma, and even in her death, there was I want to say it was a 2020 run of the Darth Vader comics where it was maybe it was 2022. Either way, it was after Empire Strike Back. After he discovers that Luke was his son, he goes on a mission to figure out who hid the birth from him, and finds almost like a company-sized group of volunteers wanting to kill him, full with like bombers, fighters, almost a platoon worth of people just trying to kill him, thinking that he was the cause of Padme's death. Which kind of was.
Right.
So I think she would have had the Rebel Alliance underway much sooner. But
well, everybody, thank you for listening to Holocron History, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends, and may the Force be with you.
Thank you for listening to Holocron History, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net, the Ben and Friends podcasting Discord, where you can share your thoughts, experiences, and love for the Star Wars lore. And don't forget, for the Republic!
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Shop up to 40% off with minimum purchase and a free professional measure right now at Blinds.com. Plus, pay at your own pace starting at 0% APR with Affirm. Terms apply.